Hey everybody, what is going on? It's your boy Iz33. Welcome back to another Anarchy analysis match of the week. We're covering the world's play-ins, ladies and gentlemen, and I figured why not start with the two regions we cover. NA versus EU, Team Liquid versus Mad Lions, and this is going to be an absolute banger of a match. It's a best of one, so we're getting back into this sort of deal where it's quick fire videos. I enjoy this a lot more as it's very easy to cover, so without further ado, let us get into Champion Select where we're going to be breaking down this game. As the world's music kicks off, we load onto this draft with TL on blue, Mad on the red side, and we kick off these bans, with TL removing the Renekton, the Akali, and the Lilia, and Mad Lions removing the Lucian, the Kalista, and the Graves. So this is actually quite interesting in terms of ban tick, because Renekton, big pick in the top lane that's received a lot of buffs. It's gone up in priority for most teams because of the combination this champion provides to a jungler called Nidalee. So you ban out one piece of the combo, you're essentially nullifying that combo ever existing, and it lowers the priority of Nidalee as a jungler as a whole, and realistically it isn't as big of a pick as what people would like. As for the Akali ban here for TL, it's a big pick in my opinion that's gone up and risen back into the meta. I think throughout the entirety of the season so far, it started off very powerful in spring, got nerfed quite a lot through that split, became unplayable in playoffs. Start of summer, it saw a couple of plays, but it wasn't powerful, and then it got more and more powerful. More buffs came to the champion, it became very prevalent, and it's a big reason why it's now back in the meta. Obviously with the changes to Presence of Mind, which if you and Triumph, or whatever the other one is that gives you mana, essentially whenever you get a kill you get more energy, allowing you to stack that up, get more energy, so you can throw out more Qs, which is kind of your big damaging tool as an Akali. So that is a huge thing and a reason why it's being banned. Next ban, obviously the Lilia. It's been obviously brought into the meta quite quickly as soon as it was able to be played. I'm pretty sure every team was playing it, and it's really powerful in my opinion. It's probably the most powerful AP jungler in the meta because it provides so much authority on the map, because you can go into the enemy jungle, clear it exceptionally quick, and then go take all your camps. It's a very powerful countering jungling champion who sets up plays exceptionally. It's the only champion in the game that has a global ability that isn't its ultimate. That Swirl Seed sets up plays. If you land that, Lightning Lullaby comes down, they're put to sleep, and you can hit multi-man sleeps. That's the even bigger thing. And with the usability of Liandry's with this champion, it's exceptionally strong and it's an exceptionally good ban. And it's why we probably won't see too many Lilia plays, and mostly Lilia bans throughout Worlds this year. Mad Lions side of things, the Lucian ban. Lucian, through the entirety of this Worlds playing day, because this is the last game of the day, Lucian's been played a couple of times and it's looked very, very hard to kill. It's a very strong champion. It's a big lane bully that looks to win lane early and do a lot of work, and I love this pick. It's a great flexible champion because it can go into top, it can go into mid, and it technically could be played ADC. So I love this ban, it makes a lot of sense. Similarly, the Kalista ban, probably the most powerful ADC currently in the game. Obviously on this patch that they're playing Worlds on, Caitlyn got nerfed considerably, so people aren't going towards this champion as much, and realistically it's not as good as what it used to be. So people are going towards these Jins, these Ashes, these Kalistas, because Senna was also nerfed. So the two big champions that were being played quite a lot in the ADC role have been nerfed. So these other picks have slowly but surely gone back up into priority picks. And the last ban, the Graves, is a farming jungler, something that Broxer is kind of known for, is these sorts of picks that can do a lot of work. He likes this sort of thing, and realistically it makes a lot of sense why this Graves was banned, because it's a pick that he's gone to time and time again. So it does mean that his Lee Sin is still available, and it's also available for Shadow to pick. So our first pick in this pick phase for TL is going to be the Lee Sin. They're putting high priority on Brox's big signature pick. He's dominated on this pick in previous games and in previous years at Worlds. He's renowned for it. Similarly to Shadow, he is also renowned on that pick as well. But Lee Sin, big pick. Obviously, you can roam quite quickly using the Sonic Wave to jump around the map as well as ward hopping. He's got a really good clear rate, and you're probably one of the best setting up ganking junglers, because you can lend the Sonic Wave, jump onto the champion that you hit it on, kick them, and then get the follow-up combo with your second Sonic Wave or ward hop, whatever it is, and get them down with your E. It's a very powerful pick. Love it as a whole. It's very strong, and though it does make me a little worried because they're putting such a high priority on a jungler first pick that the rest of the draft may suck a little. Now, Madeline's side of things, they go with the instant lock-in of Ashe and Evelynn. Now, these two picks are quite interesting. Evelynn, I'll talk about in a second, but Ashe, probably the most powerful ADC currently left available, works exceptionally well into the Jhin if it's up, and works quite well into the Senna. You've got a lot of slowing in that kit with the Ice Volley that can just put people down into pretty slow speeds. You also have the Ashe Arrow that can essentially lock people up. The further it travels, the longer the stun. It's very powerful, strong pick in my opinion, and makes this kind of Madeline's squad look to be more of a pick heavy composition rather than a team fighting one with the Ashe. As for the next pick, the Evelynn kind of fits quite nicely alongside the Ashe in terms of going for picks, because Evelynn, once she gets past level 6, she finally becomes a champion. She goes invisible, she can roam around the map, she becomes essentially a free ward that just travels everywhere. It's very hard to detect unless you place control wards down, and as a whole is a very powerful pick that can execute people with the Lascaresque. And playing with an Evelynn correctly, like, well, I wouldn't say like how Shadow did in the INTZ series game they played first off on stream, but it's still a strong pick that Shadow's played today that does a lot of work, and it will be very powerful in setting up plays, getting kills, and executing people off. Last two picks of this first phase now for Team Liquid, the Twitch and Rakan. They've gone for this combo that's quite interesting. It's not going to be a Yuumi paired alongside Twitch, and this Twitch is very strong in my opinion. You have an invisibility kit, you go invisible, so Evelynn's got to be worried about another invisible thing, and it's very powerful in terms of the attack speed. He has a lot of range, the Toxic Rat, and he does poison damage that ticks. Very powerful pick in the current meta in my opinion, that's kind of returned up to the upper echelon of ADCs and is able to do a lot of work if he's able to get into the backside of a fight and just pop off. Similarly to the Rakan, who provides a very similar thing to what Rakan plus Evelynn does. Essentially, when the Twitch goes invisible, it means that Rakan can just jump to him, and if he's in a good enough position, can then just land a great grand entrance and knock people up without the actual ability to telegraph the jump in, because he's going to be moving towards a Twitch who will be invisible, and there you go, that's a teamfight win if you're TL. It's a great combination, something that you have to be very wary about if you're mad, and I'm intrigued by this setup because it isn't the Yuumi Twitch, which we'll discuss right now. Yuumi Twitch is very powerful because Twitch goes invisible, Yuumi goes invisible too. Yuumi, who can fire an invisible prowling projectile, is very strong, as well as the fact that if she pops her zoomies, it gives the Twitch, who's going to be invis, movement speed, can get in even further behind targets and do damage that way, and pop an even better ultimate, as well as the fact that the final chapter from Yumi will be invisible to kick it off in the team fight. It's a great, powerful combination that I'm amazed teams haven't gone towards when they're now picking up this Twitch. That being said, the last pick of Phase 1 is Mad's Camille for Arone. It's an interesting one in my opinion. Camille, split push heavy champion that can look for picks as well. You set it up with the Hextech ultimatum, you lock them in place and you lock them down for your team to come over and kill off the targets. Now, we're getting halfway through the draft right now. It's a good idea now to focus in on what champs I'd expect to be banned. Well, I'd honestly expect Team Liquid to maybe ban out ATF, maybe a Galio. Something that can combo with this Camille and Ashe lockup. And they should also look towards supports, maybe even a set being banned out, maybe a Nautilus ban. Something that can just aggress. Because you look at the Mad side of things, you have long range engage with Yash Arrow, you have the Evelyn who can get in behind and execute, there's the Camille who has short range engage. Combining the engage tools, in my opinion, with something like a Galio, maybe even an Oriana here, for Mad would work exceptionally well. Something that can give them a lot of burst potential. As for the TL side of things, they want a pick that can actually, I don't know, frontline. That would be a good idea because you've got two quite squishy champs like the Lee Sin and the Rakan who gets in and is your engage. Putting something on their team to make this team fight a bit more even, an Ornn would work, Sion, Urgot, them sort of picks would work exceptionally well for them. But I know it's impact in the top lane. He goes towards two picks realistically that he went to in playoffs. He has his Mordekaiser and he has his Shen. I'd expect one of them two to frankly be locked in for impact. And of the two, I'd expect the Mord. Because you've got Lee Sin, which is heavy AD, Twitch, who's heavy AD, and then a Rakan who's just not really damaged. He's just there to run around and provide shielding and knock people up. So you'd realistically look for an AP champion in the mid lane and then possibly an AP tank in the top lane so that you get a bit more mixed damage if you're TL. So the second round of bans coming in right now, and we start with the Shen ban coming in from Mad. Obviously expecting Impact to go to one of his signature picks here. Obviously removing the Shen is actually quite nice because Shen is a very good champion at stopping picks. If you don't get what I mean is he gets two teleports. He can essentially join a fight, even up numbers, and or use his Stand United, provide a shield to the person getting picked off, and then jump in that way. That is a very strong pick, and it's why I like it being banned away here by Mad. As for the side of TL, they removed two champions here that I expected to be banned, realistically. The Set, which obviously, with there being the Evelyn, a mid laner or top lane option for, even a support option actually, for the Set being removed out here is good. It's a pick that I do believe Kaiser has played, I would say. I'm unsure on that. But Set, strong pick, engage heavy champion, looking to essentially execute targets off with that face breaker, allowing lockup of targets in team fights that gets also massive shield and true damage. What isn't a broken champion these days without true damage? Yeah, I love Set as a pick. It makes sense for TL to ban it. And their second ban here, TL, the Nautilus ban. I like it as well. It's smart. You're removing engage options for Mad. That being said, I would have preferred maybe a Leona ban instead of the Naut one, because Leona hard counters Rakan. In terms of the fact that Leona, whenever the Rakan jumps in, if she lands a Zeref's Blade, wherever the Rakan goes, Leona goes. It doesn't matter. So Leona pre-activates her Q, lands the Zeref Blade, that is an immediate lockup of her Rakan. No matter if he's doing his quickening, he's still locked up for a few seconds. Once the charm effect wears off, Leona can just pop Soul Flare, lock him in place, and that Rakan becomes null and void, unable to do anything in a team fight. And it's important that you actually know that about this combination. It's a pick that gets countered quite heavily, and if you ever watch pro play and you see a Rakan locked in before the opposition locks their spot, expect the Leona to be locked in response. Now the last ban in this phase comes from Mad, and it's the Orianna, and I'm realistically surprised it's the Orianna ban. Big reasoning being is it's a pick that I would say fits the Mad Lions draft a lot. I mean, I would say a lot more than what TL draft, but TL's draft is pretty similar. But I think that the Orianna ban is big because it locks up targets. You just stick the ball on Rakan if you're TL, and the ball gets carried into the backline. Shockwave gets activated. That hits multiple people, locking in place, doing tons of damage. You then use your W to speed up the Rakan if you want to before that, and also burst down the target so it gets hit by it. So it's a big combination of abilities in my opinion. It's a big champion that combos exceptionally well with this TL team, so I guess that's why we see it removed here by Mad. Though I would have preferred them to actually pick up the pick, in my opinion here, is it would have made a lot more sense having the fact that essentially they could get counter pick mid laner. In fact, they do have counter pick mid laner if they go for it, because the Rakan was already locked in for TL. So it makes zero sense to me why Mad would ever go for a first pick mid laner into the second pick phase. So it's time for me to get absolutely triggered, because Mad Lions, what do you know? First pick of the second pick phase is Syndra. They pick their mid laner. They blind pick it. And that makes zero sense to me, because you could give Humanoid a stronger mid champion that he likes. Like, he plays Azir exceptionally well. He plays Orianna exceptionally well. You could have had him on either of them. Instead you give him a Syndra, which I don't think we've seen him play it at all. In playoffs, I don't think he played it once. And it's realistically a good pick, don't get me wrong, I like this pick. Though he's giving the counter pick to Jensen, when you should essentially have a free counter pick of mid. Now Syndra, yes, it is quite safe as blind pickable mid. Yes, it's not Zoe who gets immediately countered by everything in the mid lane. You could just literally lock in. Even a Nidalee mid would counter a Zoe. But yeah, Syndra would also counter Zoe mid, so I guess that's a reason why you'd go Syndra for yourself. It's safe, has massive burst, it has engage with the scatter of the weak. Also the unleashed power will do tons of damage as an execute that can combo in very nicely with the last caress of the Evelyn. So I get why Mad would go for this pick here, though it doesn't make sense in the pick positioning. Now TL's response, they go for their remaining picks for their draft in the Mordekaiser, which I like. It isolates targets, so if, say, Mad try and isolate pick off this Mordekaiser in the side lane, he just puts one of them in the death realm with him. What's that? He's going against the Camille. What's that? She can use her Hexet ultimatum to lock him up. Oh, why not even out the lockups? You just put someone else into a lockup. It's a great pick in my opinion. It's one of Impact's main signature picks that he's gone to this season. It's phenomenally good. It works exceptionally well in my opinion against an Evelyn. because you can essentially, if an Evelyn shows herself, put her in the death realm. She is not going invisible anytime soon. She's not escaping with that last caress. She's essentially dead to rights in that realm because she is very squishy, and I love this Mordekaiser pick. Have I ever said that before? Last pick for TL is a TF. Yeah, I like that. Because realistically, there isn't too many big hard counters to Syndra as a mid laner. So why not just pick a champion that doesn't have to deal with the Syndra? You just leave your lane, Destiny to another lane, get a kill, return back, clear the wave, rinse and repeat. Pretty simple as a champion who can turn teamfights around quite quickly, huge amount of chase down, a great ability in the Destiny, have I ever said that, is it essentially is a free counter to Evelyn. And the reason being is Destiny's first cast reveals everyone on the map. What's that? Evelyn gets revealed by a huge glowing orb above her head? Oh, that's where the invisible jungler is. I know, we can go kill her if she's going to kill my side laners. Oh, she can't do anything because she's going to be constantly envisioned. That's the powerful thing about TF. That's why TL go for this. It's a hard counter to 2 picks in Mad's squad in my opinion, and realistically it's going to be hard to punish. I don't think Mad can realistically put Jensen behind because he's going to be behind anyway. Like, he's picked a pick that will be behind mostly, though he can farm quite safely and realistically won't be threatened too much. Now the last pick for this first and last playoffs play-in matchup actually is going to be the Leona. It's a big pick in my opinion because Leona, obviously I've said, counters Rakan quite heavily. It provides a hard engage option for Matt that works exceptionally well with the Camille, works well with the Evelyn, and gives Ashe a bit more of a front line. It's a safe pick in the bot lane. I like it. It should have realistically come before the Syndra pick, but hey ho. Mad draft like madman. And yeah, that's the drafts done with. Let us get into today's play where we're going to be breaking it down and having a bit of fun. So we start this play with Shadow trying to make a deep flank on this Evelyn in order to get a kill. And what do you know? He gets in behind the Team Liquid squad. As he gets in behind, we see Aramne put into Death Realm here with Impact, who then forces to flash out Camille and is kind of trapped himself and gets immediately hit by Scatter Weak. Then it's Rakan jumping into the backline, flashing forward, getting bursted out though by the Ashe and killed off. Evelyn is forced to last caress into the loving arms of the Mordekaiser, who went over to the side and gets her himself a kill. Destiny comes through here from TF from the side, using his gold card and extra range from his rapid fire cannon, locks up the Ashe, and then a sonic wave from the Lee Sin kills him off. Camille then gets in the kills, killing off TF on the side of things, and now it's just TL in a 3v2, and Twitch looking to try and get more kills. However, he does not, and Team Liquid win that fight with excellent mechanics. Granted, the positioning of a few players were kind of lucky. Obviously, the kill onto the Evelyn was pretty much luck if you're Impact, because he wasn't expecting the Evelyn to come over to him and give over her life for free, because the Lascaresque escape was in the wrong direction in my opinion. That being said, the kills favoured TL here, which allows them to go towards the Baron Pit and or the Mountain Drake and secure themselves an objective, and then from that point on they walk forward in this game, marching over Mad Lions and winning this first game for themselves in the play-in stage, and look very strong with that Lee Sin pick. Nonetheless, that's going to be it for this episode of the Anarchy Analysis Match Breakdown. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new here if you want to, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.